the ranked stuff in first so we don't forget. We are live. Take it
And
away,
we
Sean.
are live from Detroit, Michigan, weighing in at 205 pounds. He is the welterweight champion of the world, Detroit
Hey,
Kool-Aid.
yo.
I don't know why I
Bro,
went like
that's
1970s
epic,
boxing
man.
match vibes there, but here we are.
Bro, that's epic. You're epic, Sean. Like seriously, man, you have a talent, man, a gift, and I appreciate you for that.
Oh, I just got a voice box, my friend. But what up, everybody? Welcome to Wilbur Pistons Table Talk for another episode, July 13th. I, one of your hosts, Sean Murphy, alongside the man Detroit Kool-Aid, also joined by the draft legend himself, Steve Burkett, aka Rez Ball Pod. Also joined by the man himself, Jalen HTV, host of CEO's Office Hours. Guys, how we all doing?
I'm tired, but this is always energizing, bro. Like getting on this panel, it's always energizing. We talk about what we have to do for the post streams. We gotta have like Wilbur Pistons business hours, man. We're gonna have to do that. You know, take a tab from Jalen's brand for the post for the pre streams as well, man. But it's good to be on here with you all. It's cool to see this quad. You know, shout out to Carl as well. He said he wants to get on when he gets time, but it's cool to be on with you all, man. It feels awesome. It really does.
Always good to see the crew, 100%. And we got a pretty stacked
Oh
show.
snap, bro! I was just talking
Speaking
about him.
of the man, the
Dang.
myth, the legend, Carl Collins. Carl, it's been a minute, so we can only imagine how many people have been impregnated with that voice of yours since then. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, man.
It might be a village at this point.
Dude.
Look,
Totally. Great to have you, man.
I don't have any response to that, man.
No, this panel looks awesome, man. I was just saying, like, yo, I hope Carl can get on here. It's cool to see this quad we have, but Carl, bro, good to see you, man. I know you've been putting in work beyond work, brother. Good.
Hey, I try, man. There's only so much time in the day. But
Do you want to tell the people what's happened in your life since the last time you were on here?
man, so I've graduated from residency.
Yes, sir.
I'm in my radiology fellowship now. So
Excellence, bro.
you know, and along with my two crazy kids, it's been busy, but you know, I've been trying. I got a lot of videos coming out. I'm actually working on 4 of them right now. Actually 5. I'm working on 5 videos.
Man.
So I'll be coming out with some good stuff soon.
Man, got the residency, got the family, got the 5 videos going on. Carl, when you sleep?
I sleep when I'm dead.
Hey, that's the grind right there, man. That's why I love this table talk crew, man. It's just a bunch of good people who work hard and then go harder. And that's that Detroit mentality, man. That's what we see in our sports teams. And it's kind of what, you know, people sometimes are like, man, you guys take this stuff so serious. And it's like, well, I don't know how any other way to take it. It's just the way we've always lived.
It's just my
the way we
life.
take
Like, it's just an
everything, man.
illness that I have. It's like people are like, "Oh, you just go so in depth." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm obsessed. It's a problem." It's like,
Sheesh.
"Man, we love the energy and passion you bring." I'm like, "Yeah, you mean the mental illness I have? I appreciate it." It's like I get to have it enabled, and now there's even ways where I can monetize that sickness. You know what I mean? Like, shout
Yes,
out the
sir.
internet. Like, really
Oh,
creating
man.
pathways to really, you know. But anyway, Kool-Aid. We got a
What's
lot
up,
to
brother?
talk about in a short amount of time. We had a pretty stacked show today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, Summer League is all the buzz right now. Obviously, Ausar Thompson. I'm calling him Air Thompson right now, man. He's kind of electric, and we're gonna get into him. We're gonna talk a little bit
Oh,
about
man.
Summer League as well. Get you guys' reactions because it's been a while. Want to talk about Isaiah Stewart.
It's
We
been
got
a
to get into
while.
that
I'm
$64
sorry.
million deal, 60 million guaranteed, 64 if he reaches those incentives over 4 years, third year with a team option. And I know Sean is going to have every way that this thing impacts us from a CBA standpoint. And I'm telling you guys, to this platform, I think Sean, he stays so clued into this, but I think that might have to be your official chair too, making sure we kind of know from a CBA and cap standpoint, like where we are. No, because we've talked about kind of who can we get to fill that chair. I mean, you're doing the thing, brother. Like you really are.
I appreciate
So
it, man. Yeah, I have over the last year in particular have just really started to become obsessed with front office stuff, like specifically just how these types of things like affect the big picture. Like even though I don't know if I could ever be a general manager or someone in a front office looking over looking at like potential two-way players that are in Latvia, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's my thing, but like, being able to like, dive in and see like how these big things like affect the big picture. Yeah, it's I think there was a lot of reactions from the Isaiah Stewart deal. I'll just say this much as of right now. I don't think this is nearly as much money as people think it is in the NBA world. And especially with where the league's heading in the next couple of years, this money's not jack diddly.
I like that. And obviously, hey, listen, before we get into these summer league reactions, Sean.
It is for him, by the way. Congratulations to him. I don't like for him. That's a huge deal. Like absolutely. Like I'm not saying that's a small amount of money. I'm just saying it's not gonna cripple us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Listen, we gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it. Listen, tell the people about rank management though, what we got going on. Shout out Ashton the trainer. Shout out Cannon Cunningham. Shout out the Cunningham family. Great things that they're trying to bring to the city. Sean, did you find that tweet?
Yeah, man, most definitely. So if people do not remember, a couple of months ago, there was supposed to be a 3-on-3 tournament happening in Detroit in the Dearborn Heights area, hosted by Ashton, the trainer, and Cannon Cunningham, aka Ranked Management. They're starting their own management company, having their own representation. By the way, shout out to their first representative, Anthony Black, who was just drafted top 6 and is a freaking baller. By the way, he was incredible to watch in summer league. Another one I really liked. But anyway, it was canceled the first time around just because it was a little short notice. It was a little difficult to get signups. However, the new date is coming soon. This is an event that we're all very invested in. Not only were we all invited as guests to be in the building, but also we have people on this panel who have particular interest in playing if the cards lay oh so right. So I think, ultimately this is something where, not only is this a great event, with a lot of fun, bringing out local celebrities in the Detroit area, content creators, just Pistons fans alike, just all together in one space. But in addition, I think this is a great way to support Ashton and Cannon and the Cunningham family, what they have going on, especially, starting a management firm is a very, very big deal, very something that, we want to support because, we understand how, like being able, I mean, this is the type of stuff LeBron did, right? Empowering the people in his circle and his family and his friends, the ones that have been around him his entire life. That's where Rich Paul came from. That's where Clutch Sports began. So, if we can begin our own basketball empire in Detroit and help the roots and the beginnings of it, hell yeah, man. So
It's a marriage between us and them. That's realistically what it is, and it's about how we help them and how they help us. And they've only hit the ground running since that, and they didn't publicize it. I got to literally hound them down to get pictures and to get quotes for articles to be able to publicize what they're doing because I do believe that publicizing the good that they're doing will help bring like awareness, notoriety, and hopefully encourage other people to assist not just in their own ways, but like, listen, when they were doing their stuff in Flint, do you know how many people don't realize they go to Flint on a regular and they do, water drives, they do basketball drives, they do camps and things of that nature. Like people don't realize that they're doing that stuff. And I'm like, yo, put it out there so other people in the area who want to help can definitely come out and support and help, or other people may be encouraged or inspired to start something can do it as well. Like
yeah,
it
they didn't
deserves
just
to be
commit to the
supported.
Pistons, man. They committed to Michigan, and that's a different love right there.
That is, and it's I think it's important to highlight. So I'm glad we took a little bit of time to talk about them. Shout out again, Ashton the trainer. He was our first big guest on the platform, and we got word that Kay was off camera watching the whole time, or at least listening, and that's really really cool, man. That type of stuff is awesome, especially for us who
And
we
Ash
are
has just
absolute
become a dear
sickos.
friend of the show in general. Just
Yeah,
just a great dude.
it's awesome, man. So shout out to them. Support. I've been touched by what they've done and been doing for the city of Detroit and for the entire state of Michigan. So definitely. But Sean, take us away, bro. It's summer league, man.
Man, these this summer league thing's happening, guys. The I'm not sure if you've been tuning in, but the basketball world has been, has been out in Las Vegas, and although going into summer league, the biggest hype was around Victor Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, Amen Thompson. Arguably the biggest star of the entire weekend. I don't say that lightly. I mean, yes, there's Keontae George of the Jazz. There's guys who are making names for themselves, from the lower order in the draft. However, if we're talking about the lottery names who have come out and shown exactly why they were drafted and shown who they are, I don't think there's any argument. I think Ausar freaking Thompson has done that, guys. I mean, I saw a tweet today that said, when you're averaging 10 points and don't have your jump shot going in the entirety of NBA Twitter, is the consensus is you're him. That's a good sign. Like the amount that this guy's doing without scoring.
Honestly, it's just without hitting the 3-point shot. That's really what it is, because he's hitting. I've seen him hit some jumpers in the mid range that got me like, you know what?
And we talked they talked all this smoke about how Amen Thompson is just this unreal athlete that we, that we haven't seen. There's nothing like it. Well, it turns out there's something an awful lot like it, because he has a freaking twin brother that's in Detroit now. And I'm not sure if you saw that steal and alley-oop dunk and transition where that man just straight levitated in air. I'm pretty sure he still hasn't come down from that dunk.
Why did he start the jump and the turn before the pass was even in the air, bro? Like, he was like, hey, look, I don't care where you're throwing it. I'm doing this. like, what? I was sitting here like, when I saw it, I was like, I didn't know what time it was, man. I'm like, I don't know if these boys are, whatever. Man, let me text Jalen real quick. I was gonna hit you like, bro, can you do that? Like, did you see what he did? That type of stuff, man. It excites me, bro. It excites me.
100%.
Yes,
I think at the very least,
I can do that.
I think at the very least, guys, I think what we all can agree on, I think any concerns about whether or not this guy could actually play basketball because he was playing an overtime elite, I think we can put that to bed. Can we agree on that?
Yep. Look, when we went through this whole draft process, I think our panel was kind of all on the same wavelength. If you take one of the Thompson twins, just because of their potential and the things we were saying, Troy Weaver ultimately said his defense is a little bit ahead of his offense, but he can still contribute on the offensive side of the ball. He's not going to shoot the cover off the ball. And that's what it was. We continue to say if they pick one of the Thompsons, it's going to be because more of their potential. They believe they can reach a higher ceiling than one of the guys who could step in and probably help them a little bit more right away, like a Cam Whitmore or whatnot. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now out of Ausar Thompson. The name that we heard was what? Andre Iguodala. When you look at the defense, man, I'm talking about he's just taking the ball from people.
In the playmaking, man,
big boy pants basketball.
The athletic comp is definitely there, but Andre Iguodala was a freaking supercomputer as a basketball player. And like Ausar, just exact same thing, just processes the game and at all times is like, how can I help winning? Oh, that, I'm going to go do it. How can I help winning? Oh, that, I'm going to go do it. It's insane. Like, 1 second he's getting a rebound. The next second he's getting a block. The next second he's out in transition. He's shooting, he's getting a dunk or he's getting a really good outlet pass. Everything he does. Oh, man.
Yeah, what he's shown me so far is very similar to what Ivy showed us last year in terms of like he's more of a playmaker than I think at least what I was expecting him to be. At least so far in summer league, we still has to play an NBA game yet, but so far he's shown some things that I did not expect, and I'm sure a lot of other people didn't expect. As far as his athleticism and speed, like I'm kind of surprised at how athletic, how athletic and quick he is, similar to Ivy. So I saw a lot of similarities with Jaden Ivey, and like with having this many playmakers on the team, it's actually really exciting to see like what we can do next year on the fast break and just in the half court too.
It's like Troy Weaver's vision, his dream, that kind of sick, mind of his that said, I want 5 creatives at every position. Like, that's starting to come true, man. I like this dog. He floated to the rim backwards, and Jalen, somebody heard you say I could do that, and they would say, "Oh, I could too on a 9-foot rim."
It feels like
hey man, I'm telling you, I could do it on regulation.
It feels like this team is starting to get an identity both on and off the court too, though. Like this locker room, like it had, it already kind of had its identity of high character, extremely high work ethic guys. Shout out the beautiful bastard Jeff Iafrate.
There we go. I was like, let me keep it on there. We'll get to love you.
Oh
bro.
yeah, 100%. Don't you worry. I got to shout out that divine, beautiful man. Oh, that hair's so hot. Anyway, shout out our guy. Anyway,
Carl's gonna do a video on Jeff's hair one day.
like just like an edit, just like a freaking going hard edit of Jeff just with the hair, nothing else.
Just give me the footage and I'll get started.
That's gonna be epic, dog.
But basketball wise, like you have a ton of guys who are insanely athletic, who can run the floor, who have versatile archetypes, who can defend multiple positions, but at the same time, all have pretty high basketball IQs. Like, this is a team that's going to be able to run. This is a team that's going to make your life really difficult on the defensive end. And now that you have a guy like Ausar in the equation who can cause turnovers, like I don't, like things like shooting percentage, things like how you're shooting in summer league, I don't worry about it all. The things you want to look at as far as like what translates, game instincts, basketball IQ, what type of effort plays you're making, because that's the stuff that you can't teach and that you can carry to any level you're at. And the fact that Ausar comes in day one, as defensively minded as he is, mind you, in summer league, and just making as many plays as he is in summer league, like those are the things. Like, again, he's not getting 20, 30-point games, but the guys who get 20, 30-point games in summer league never get 20, 30-point games in the league. You know who won MVP the year? Lonzo and Kyle Kuzma. Josh Hart was a summer league MVP a number of years ago. Is Josh Hart scoring 20, 30 points a game? Can you tell me who won summer league MVP last year? Gun to your head. Thank you.
Yeah.
Son, bro, you in peak form right now. And Jeff says, oh, dude, Sean, great talent. Jeff kind of said a name that I was thinking, Butler. That's kind of a DNA type I wanted on the Pistons for a while. And I know that a lot of other Piston fans have said it too. So I am not in the minority there. If you can have a pit bull like that, it just feels like it's cut from the cloth of Detroit. And I don't know, I kind of like it. The one thing that Troy said that I really, really like, and you can kind of see the difference. Well, I'm not sitting here saying that Houston's rebuild won't be successful, but the type of rebuilds they are different. The reason why they had to go out there and splash out on veterans right now at this stage is because of the difference in the rooms. Troy said he wants serious basketball players. That, to me, when you hear it, you're just like, okay. But then when you hear Ausar Thompson speak, when you listen to Jaden Ivey speak, when you listen to Jalen Duren speak, when you listen to Cade Cunningham speak, when you listen to Isaiah Leverett speak, then you get it. These are smart, serious, like just thoughtful basketball players, man. And when they approach the floor, it's about doing and what their coaches ask them to do and doing what's best for their teammates. You don't hear some of the drama, some of the arguments, some of the conversation and rhetoric. Sean, bro, It's we profiled, ironically, Houston Rockets for whatever weird reason, and now we sit here with it being kind of the chief, team that we can look at and compare the Pistons to in a rebuild. And I believe that a guy like Ausar Thompson, I don't know, man, he helps to elevate this young core just a little bit more in that department, man.
Yeah,
He's patient. Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, I was just going to say really quickly, it says a lot when you have, when you look at the situations, and in one situation, they had to pay top dollar to go get high character guys to come into their locker room because they're like, we need to fix, we need to get this culture intact. We need to get this locker room right. We need help for our young guys. And then Monty Williams is coming in. These guys are going to be such a blessing for me, my pastor, my wife, or even like, these kids are going to be so great for you. I don't think Ime has said a damn thing about how good those guys are going to be for him. I think his hairs are getting grayer like by the minute, drawing up and scheming how he's going to have to get those guys to buy in on both sides of the basketball. And the other reason why they went and had to spend as much money as they did was because they had to get to the salary floor because they were so openly tanking and putting themselves in a crappy position where, whereas the Pistons, they were still at least trying to put some decently competitive players on the roster. They went and got Bojan last year. They were trying to position themselves to be better last year before it hit the shan.
I think for the Rockets though, like you said, like they had to spend that. Like I looked it up for you. The whole salary cap thing for
Tell
you.
me the lies, Apollo.
But for like Ausar Thompson, he's patient, like the first two games, Ivy was playing, Ivy was doing a lot of the point guard things, stuff like that. He still stuffed the stat sheet. First game, during Ivy sit out, and it's more so him and the other young guys, he takes over. So having a player where you can watch him not score but still have 5 assists or 7 boards, 9 boards, 2 blocks, 2 steals. And if he wants to get 28 and 6, he can do that too. And his IQ was crazy. Like I think, what was the play? I think it was I think Doran had the ball. It was a fast break with Doran. Threw it to Ausar. Before the ball even got there, Ausar had already made up his mind. Apparently, bounced past Wiseman and one dunk. Like that's on the go. You're not making that play, thinking. You can't think in that instance, He's 19, 20. So it's just like things like that with him. I'm big on Ausar Thompson, so I'm a little biased here, but it's just like what he's done in summer league is crazy. And then you got what he hit when they, I think it was he was guarding Gritty Dick or whatever. He was guarding whatever, and he was destroying him. Like he was destroying him in the Raptors game. He couldn't guard him. On defense, he had him, locked up. Like he was doing everything by himself. Like
it was like he was little broing him, dog. I was like,
it was
away basketball.
I saw some Raptors. I think it was like the Raptors equivalent of Pistons powered. I saw someone write that Raptors fans should be encouraged that Grady Dick outscored Ausar Thompson. And I'm like, first of all, what? Second of all, if that's what you took away from that game, whatever copium you got to sniff, whatever helps you sleep at night, go right on ahead. But Grady Dick looks good, by the way. I'm not bashing him, but like you don't have to compare. Like objectively, Ausar is just a guy.
Grady had a good game though. Like he had a good game, but like on tape, Ausar had him in a straitjacket. Like
they had a good game against plumbers. Is that what they're saying nowadays?
Yeah, Grady was having a good game. But Ausar, like I think the play. Then I'm done. I think the last play that he had, I think he tipped the ball to himself off the steal, finished down the right with the left, no glass, finger rolled it down the lane. He finger rolled downhill, like he was doing everything by himself.
Didn't he just straight up take the ball from Grady Dick twice though? There was the one that we know where he was on the sideline, but there was another play I thought kind of top off the right. He was kind of defending off towards the right a little bit, and he just kind of took the ball from him there and then went down on another play. The play with Marcus Sasser, that was the one he did on the sideline, right?
Mm-hmm. And then the one at the end, I think Sasser mic'd him at the end. Sasser had mic'd Grady. We get to that point, but that was tough.
I
I
think
saw someone
Tess,
earlier, by the way, say that Ausar Thompson's gonna be a baby Kawhi, and to that I say,
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us.
that's where I'm at on that.
this
Yes.
what it was.
Don't
This what
you
it
put
was.
that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us.
That quote lives in my head rent free, by the way. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This what it was, man. That first play of the game when he just straight up just blocked his jumper. That's what it was. It was just like I saw that, and then you saw the play on the sideline when he then again just engulfed it and went down the court. And it's just like, oh, he's just he's playing basketball in a completely different headspace than these other players right now defensively. And I liked it. Me and Rod, we talked about it on the pod, man. Like, what do we want to see? What do you take away from this? It's just summer league. How do we make sure these things are tempered in the right manner? And Jeff has talked about it. We've talked about it on these panels for the better part of a year plus. You want to see the things that these guys were said to have had. You want to see those things kind of take place on each stage of basketball they play in. So if they say that they're defensive minded, you want to see it. If they say that they have basketball IQ and a playmaking ability, you want to see it. Is it 6 assists because he was just dropping dimes, over high school kids' head, or is it because he's really offensively and basketball IQ inclined to get out there and make plays? We saw now against the next level of top competition, basketball pros and people trying to make it to the next level. People who have played college ball for years. People who have played in the NBA. We are now seeing him play make. We're now seeing him put people in straight jackets, as Jalen has so nicely put it, defensively. We're seeing him rebound the ball. Man, listen, if there was one complaint that I had for my guy, is that he couldn't rebound no matter how big he was, bro. Like, it was like tall. It wasn't working. Ausar Thompson is going out there, and at least on this level, he has a knack to go out there and rebound the ball. And this is what I love. He wants to be in the middle of everything, but he has not allowed that to keep him out of position defensively.
Mhm.
I've seen him where you see him look like, I want to go over there and help, but I got my guy right here. Whereas you guys don't understand last year, seeing guys, sometimes our two-way players kind of helping down too much and leaving a three-point shooter wide open. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's frustrating from just a basketball watch. Ausar Thompson just thinks differently, man.
Do you guys think it's ridiculous to say that I think Ausar Thompson could be all NBA defensive and within his first 4 to 5 seasons?
That needs to be the challenge. Honestly, that needs to be the challenge. If LaMelo Ball is making, all-star games and things of that nature, and this next phase of NBA, I think is a lot more wide open than people think, as it relates to who's the next level of stars and players and things of that nature. Bro, that should be the challenge. That should be the push. That should be what we're like, bro, get there. Just the same way we say Cade Cunningham, Ivy, and Duren, y'all guys got to be the guys. Ausar Thompson, we see the tools. We know that it's just summer league. But if he's not on that arc, like I saw somebody else say something like Ron Artest, if he's not on those types of arcs,
I like that one.
And listen, man,
I like that one.
And listen, you might be thinking in your Piston fan brain right now, no, I hate Ron Artest. No. But the reality of it is, Ron Artest was a freaking hooper.
He was born in the wrong team. He should have been a Piston, I always say.
Literally, before the malice at the palace, people don't remember this, or people don't like to acknowledge this. Ron Artest was a top 5 player in the league, like both sides of the ball.
20 plus a game, like
guy was
will.
a hooper.
He stopped Ben from having a 5
Yeah. Well,
yeah, he stopped Ben from having that 5 for DPOI.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, if
Ron
Ben
was
didn't,
like that.
If Ben didn't win it that year, I think he was probably the next runner up.
Yep. Yep. Before he was the wingman for Kobe, he was his own guy in his own right.
Yeah, that was a good one, Cooler. I like that one. That was because Ron Artest could score. People don't like, Sean said, like, people don't want to admit it. Like, Ron was a bucket. He could score on his own. He didn't need Jamal or Jermaine to pass or Al Harrington. He can score without those guys on that team. So
I think he can be better than Artest, but to say he's better than Artest right now, you just don't know ball, respectfully. I'm sorry. But thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I get where people are probably like, look, from a playmaking standpoint, that art can be there, but Ron Artest at his peak, man. I'm telling you, you talk about a player who you hate that you really wish your team had. I'm telling y'all, Ron Artest is the guy that you wanted in a Pistons uniform, and if he was in a Pistons uniform, look, there's something different about
I
those
love
types
the
of
Jimmy
guys when they come
Butler
here.
comp for Sar as well. I do like
With
that.
Jimmy,
Yeah, I do like
I
that
like that
comp
one.
brought up earlier.
I like that one.
Yeah, just because of the overall impact he can have on the game, and I think the sneaky athleticism they both have too. You know what I mean? I think it's like, and also, like similarly, like there's moments where you can kind of like be wanting more from them from an aggression standpoint, but no matter what, you look at the end and it's like, oh damn, they had an impact on that game.
Yep. And with Asar specifically, when you look at the way he's playing right now, he's one of those, what's the word? He's kind of probing right now, man. He's more of a mental kind of cerebral player. A guy who right now he's just kind of feeling things out. He's just kind of just letting things go. He knows he can make an impact in certain ways, but when he figures it out, then he can just go full speed ahead. And where that matters is the stuff that we've seen on tape with him. And this is the difference between him and Ivy that I've seen early on.
Hey
And I
mom,
want to see
thanks
him
for
in
calling
NBA.
in. What do you think of Ausar Thompson's future? Yeah, you're live, mom. Oh, you can't hear this. Sorry, I'll call you back, mom. Bye. Anyway, Mama Murph, shout out.
But like this is one of the things I've noticed is Ausar Thompson kind of full steam ahead when he's dribbling the ball, very in control. And the more that he figures things out, the more he's going to be able to turn on his skills that we already know are otherworldly by NBA standards. His athleticism, his speed are going to be some of the best in NBA already as a rookie. So as he figures things out, his IQ plus his skill set, you can already tell. That's where the shooting comes into play because defenses are going to try and haze and shade him into certain situations. But what I've already kind of seen, that boy will put the ball on the floor. You leave him open, you give him enough space to run around you, he's going to run around you. And he has that type of athleticism. And the mid range is something that I'm kind of looking at. He looks comfortable in there. He's had some decent makes, he's had some misses. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I think that he's just kind of probing right now on the offensive side, just getting acclimated. Those types of guys, it's almost like rec league, man. You walk in and you just kind of pass the ball around a little bit while you kind of figure out your players, figure out the defense, figure out the different wrinkles and such. And then once you get comfortable, you just game 2, game 3, game 4, you start to get busy. And that's what I think we're gonna see with Asar.
He's a
Especially
lob
in
threat.
NBA
He's a
career.
lob threat too, guys. He's a good lob threat.
Well, and
If you look, he's a good one. Ahmed and him used to go like back and forth, and every time he caught it, it was always it was always Ahmed or good shout out to mom.
shout out
Look
Mama
at
Murph.
that. Look
That's
at
what's
that.
Mama
up.
Good shout
Love
out
to
to
see the
mom.
support. OG Mama Murph. Love to see the support. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Jalen, because that was been one of my chief complaints. When we talk about the Pistons offense, it's
We
been
don't
the
have
lack
no
of
type of
cutting,
lobs.
lob threats, backdoor cuts, the
Nothing.
athleticism, or they had a little bit of it, but they just without the playmakers last year when K went down, it's not going to be there. But now that you got K with the rock in his hands and 3 or 4 guys that all have athleticism,
I with the way that this roster is starting to shape up, I'm almost starting, and me, I'm the biggest Bojan believer or biggest Bojan truther, arguably in the space. I'm starting to wonder, what his best role or if we should be looking at seriously trading him with the fact that we have all these guys who can run. And you talk about the speed that we have. And as far as like with the shooting that we acquired in the offseason, the shooting that we think that Marcus Sasser can bring, which by the way, I want to shift the conversation to him in a second. Um, I think I'm almost starting to wonder just because of how good, I think Ausar can be and just with the way this team is starting to shape up from the identity of playing really hard on both ends of the court, running up and down the court. I'm almost starting to wonder just from a basketball standpoint if Bojan's just going to be puffing and just like, man, I gotta keep up with these guys going up and down. Like,
That's a great point, man. That's a really great point, man. Like, we got to think about that. If he does start, I've always kind of been under this impression that it's going to be like a good, kind of like what we saw last year, a solid 5 to 7 minutes concentratedly at the start of the first quarter, start of the third quarters, and let Bojan just score, do his thing, and then you go to work. The only reason why, and I think that can work since they've upgraded the athleticism and the speed across the board, you don't have to wait to kind of get going. But if you need to kind of get that extra boost at the wing, then you can go to the bench right away and get it. Yeah, that's a great point, Sean.
yeah. Now,
Jeez.
Marcus Sasser, other Pistons first round pick. I know I know as high as we are on Ausar Thompson, I would say the reaction so far to Marcus Sasser has been mixed, which I would say is understandable if you're coming from a fan standpoint and you're watching this guy for the first time. And the thing in the billing on him is how good his 3-point shooting is, and you're not seeing him knock those shots down at a high clip. However, I would remind you, Steph Curry shot really poorly in Summer League. Trae Young shot 20-something% from 3 in Summer League. This is something that happens to a lot of guys. I think the things that you can see, Kool-Aid, this guy can affect, on-ball pressure at a really high level already. And it sure as heck isn't the form and the release that's the problem, because the jump shot looks beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I like Marcus Sasser. I think that he's playing out of position right now. He's consistently stated that he's a combo guard, and the Pistons have no point guards right now out there. That means he's running point guard. He's doing things that I think the Pistons want him to get good at. And sometimes that's what you do in summer league. You go out there, you see who you are, because the next phase for the whole rest of the summer is now go out there and get better. And so who Marcus Sasser is to me is the end of that the Raptors game. Look at the last few plays.
Yeah.
It was him and it was Ausar Thompson wreaking havoc defensively.
Yep.
That's why they won that game. So that's who he is. I'm not worried about any of the in-between stuff where they're trying to push him and see what he can be in other roles. I'm not concerned with Marcus Sasser from that perspective. His defense, I'm talking about absolutely just give me the ball because we're going to win the game. That's what I'm looking at for Marcus Sasser.
So Jalen, for a guy who's not a natural point guard, because you were like, yep, right there. Yep, that's spot on. He had 7 assists with only 2 turnovers last night. Like, we're talking about how this guy is struggling there. I don't know about that, man. He seems like the type of guy that can weather whatever storm you throw at him.
People were hard on him, summer league. Like, I watched him the last 4 years at Houston. If you watch Houston ball, it was Jamal Shead. He was the point guard. Him and Marcus were the backcourt for like almost 2-3 years that I've been watching him. He was always a 2 guard. He's 6'2", not my height, but he's a 2 guard. Just how you got Steph Curry and all these guys. Steph Curry's a 2 guard. AI was 6'1". He was a 2 guard. Technically, you're gonna be technical. We got guys like that. So I'm not really worried about him. He's playing out of position, like Kool-Aid said. But you get Chet out there, Monty. You get a point guard out there with him off the ball, he's gonna be fine, because when he was at Houston off the ball, he was a killer. I think he won a Jerry West Award too his last year too. Like, he was a monster. So you get a point guard out there for him to make some plays, giving the ball off the curl for a jump or something, he'll be fine. Defensively, I'm not worried at all. But offensive, like, people on Twitter were getting upset about him not being a point guard for the 100th time. If you look it up, if you know anything about Marcus Sasser, he's always been a 2. Always.
Yep. That's been what's kind of fueled my kind of, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, look, the Pistons, they got to kick every tire they have to as it relates to what they can get for Killian Hayes. But when you look at the makeup of the squad, the players that just released, right now he's playing the Kojo role. And if he goes, they don't have a point guard that can do that right now. Not right now.
Well,
Unless they bring somebody back in.
Monty Morris.
Well, Monty Morris is now playing the new Killian role. Killian was the backup point guard, and it was a Kojo on the team. You have
That's
to have
fair.
a fourth point guard on the squad who can be a stabilizer, who can, when you're getting blown out by 30, can make sure you're not getting blown out by 50 to end the game because you need your starters to rest. You got to have that type of guard on your squad, and that's what I'm saying as it relates to like where things are resting. And that's why before I was like, I don't think that they're in a rush to necessarily just get rid of them. They right now, if you want to keep a Killian who you know can get you 10, 6, decent shooting, you kind of got that. You got
Eason's
that
doing a
deal in
lot
the
of heavy
bag.
lifting there.
I'm just saying,
I'm sorry, like I'm really not trying to be
you
that
have that-
guy.
I'm
I'm
just saying
really
you
not.
you
Like
have that deal in the bag. You that's a guy that right now you can get on a very team-friendly deal. Team-friendly deal. Look, if you can trade him and get something back and you can get that fourth point guard, cool. But they just dropped 3 guards in Magruder, Hami, and Kojo. So that was interesting to me. They just dropped 3 of those kind of backcourt guys, and right now they're just left with off the bench, Sasser, Monty, and then Killian.
which, by the way, fun fact, now that Hamidou Diallo is no longer a Piston, Mike Curtis pointed this out earlier today. No Piston will ever wear number 6 ever again because because last year Bill Russell's number was retired throughout the league. Players who still had it were allowed to wear it until they were no longer with their respective team. So with the Pistons relinquishing the rights to Hami, they also relinquished the number 6 and will forever be retired.
Did Ben Wallace wear number 6 too?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah.
He
He did
did
the
on his
second
second
time around.
on his second stint with the Pistons.
Dope. Bro, like, Carl, what were you gonna say about Sasser before I have Sean bring in this Stewart combo?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, Troy Weaver has openly said that he understands how Detroit has historically won. He knows the blueprint, and I think he saw Lindsey Hunter and Mike James and Marcus Sasser. I think they can have that same kind of effect on winning, basically.
I love that. I love that comparison, man. Since I've kind of seen that, I was like, man, the similarities could be cool. I'm not going to disrespect, Lindsey. That's just a gauntlet that you basically saying, look, if these guys is the challenges, if these guys can kind of push, we talking about restoring. That's kind of where I'm hoping these guys can get because Lindsey, man, I think
if
he's
I'm bringing you up next to Lindsey, that's some of the highest respect I can give you.
Yes.
Lindsey Hunter, I love you.
Yep.
I love you.
Yep. I tell people all the time, look at the Pistons playoff stats. Look at the Pistons playoff leaders. Look at their top points per game, steals. There was another one that I was so shocked to see Lindsey Hunter in the top 10. But just go and check out their playoff stats. That man was an absolute basketball player and a hooper. And if Sasser is smart, which I believe he is, that's definitely a player. When you're talking about restoration and you're going through and you're looking at these are my roles, yeah, Lindsey Hunter, he's a baller, man. He was a baller.
And Sasser's mature. Like, to some of these guys, he's one of the oldest guys on the team. He's won. He's played scrappy. He's played, for a great coach in college and everything. He's older. He's a 4-year college player. Well, let's be honest, guys. There's a lot of players who come out the league first year nowadays. It's not that many 4-year players, unless you go to, MSU that I know of, stuff like that. So for him to stay over there 4 years and to come out, like I said, the last episode, he has a chip on his shoulder. He has to work hard. There's a lot of young guys that are already here. So, him being 22, I think that's going to help a lot for him and for the team.
100%. Sidebar. Can I just say, by the way, the Pistons Summer League jerseys go hard. We've had the same like base uniform look for a very long time. If we were to ever do some form of refresh, I think I like what they're doing with the Summer League jerseys.
They're doing a refresh. They're doing a refresh. In the next few years, we'll have different jerseys.
One cool thing, by the way, that I found out about the in-season tournament that I didn't know. Apparently, for each in-season tournament game, or for the in-season tournament games, there's actually going to be unique jerseys that the teams will be wearing for those games specifically.
Yeah.
So there's also going to be a new jersey coming with that. So I'm excited to see what they wear. Maybe they pull out the lightning bolts. Maybe something Motown, because they've been doing some Motown collabs for a while. I don't know, maybe. My mind just went all over the place. Anyway, Isaiah Stewart. That's what really matters.
I want to see them do honestly something in the Bad Boys colorways one day with the
They
Bad
need
Boys
to.
stuff. Like just one day do that. But honestly, I know that people are saying, no, if they do the teal, wait till they're winning. If they're gonna ever do the Bad Boys, wait till they're winning. I will wait.
Yep.
Wait till you know you got that squad. But that, how do you keep that? How do you keep those jerseys on shelves? I
I'd
don't.
say either because if you really think about it, Kool-Aid, their opportunity for the Bad Boys jersey, I'd say it's either this year because 2024 is going to be the 25-year anniversary of the first title,
Ooh.
or you got to think it's probably in fives. Their next chance would probably be 2029 when it's the 30-year anniversary. So
Let's do that boy next year then. Let's get it going.
yeah, let's do it.
Let's rock.
If not, 2029, Big Sean, you're on the clock. Anyway, all right. Isaiah, speaking of on the clock, Isaiah Stewart is that deal is no longer on the clock. It has been signed, sealed, delivered. Isaiah Stewart is officially the first Piston to sign a actual rookie extension under Tom Gores. Now, Andre Drummond did sign an extension. However, it was technically through a restricted free agent signing. It was a different type of extension. So the fact that Isaiah Stewart is not only the first rookie since Drummond to get extended, but also one of really the only in the past, 15 years of the franchise. Like after Isaiah Stewart and Drummond, when's the last lottery pick you can think of that got an extension?
I don't. Max still didn't go in the lottery. I don't think he did. So I don't think so. I can't think of one.
Nope. Tayshaun went lower in the first round.
Yeah, Tayshaun went
Grant
20.
Hill?
Tayshaun went in the 20s. The we extended Grant Hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to go back to when, like quite literally the 90s, right?
Yeah, I don't think me and Sean weren't even here yet. Probably.
I mean, either that or we were in the oven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? but like in all seriousness, so just to speak to the significance of what that means for the franchise. Now, obviously, we're not saying that Isaiah Stewart is a Grant Hill caliber of player from like a talent standpoint. But what we do know, first of all, this guy's been super integral to the restoration ever since he's come in. The deal is a risk as any extension is, but Kool-Aid, the deal that Isaiah Stewart signed, if you really look at the salary structure, he signed, it can ultimately be 4 years, $64 million. Isaiah Stewart signed a mid-level extension.
He's like what, $2-3 million over the mid-level?
Yeah. $2 to $3 million over, just pretty much right around. Other guys who signed the mid-level extension this offseason, Grant Williams, which if you're comparing him to Grant Williams, I'd certainly say they're on the similar caliber. If you're looking at guys like Gabe Vincent, who signed around the mid-level exception, I'd put Isaiah Stewart around that level. He might not be the shooter that these guys are yet, but if you talk about one of the most switchable, bigs in the league already, along with everything that he brings from the locker room character perspective, how well he shot already from beyond the arc at stretches last season when it was his first year really shooting the three. I mean, guys, I think when you talk about like as far as risky extensions goes, I would say this is like one of the safest out of the park home runs you can hit.
Yep. Yeah, especially with a player who, he's only shown improvement. And when they've asked him to kind of do different things, he did that. And he didn't drop efficiency, which I thought was very, very key. When he was shooting under 1 3-point a game, he was shooting 32%. When he raised his volume to like 4, 5, and 6 a game, he was shooting 32, 33%. At his peak before the shoulder injury, we were remarking at he was shooting 36% on 6.1 attempts per game. I was looking back at the old videos and footage and such that we were doing.
Which same percentage on a higher volume, that is improvement, by the way.
That's
that 100%
improvement.
is improvement.
That's improvement. That's showing that this is not a fluke. It's actually who he is as a player. And actually, he kind of had that in his game when he was on the AAU circuit. Who would know that? Troy Weaver would know that because he was there. So it's like he's not just asking or putting blind faith. The Pistons didn't know Andre Drummond. They relied on what other people were giving them, and Andre Drummond was a pick that happened kind of closer to the draft, so much so that go back and some of the reports might still be out there. Joe Dumars rushed to see Andre Drummond in a like last minute workout.
Well, there's
kind of
no real
before the
telling
draft.
where he's even going to be because Drummond was like in that draft, he was a top 3, top 5 talent as far as the draft went. But the real questions were all upstairs, with
Mhm.
and that's why he fell to 10. That's why he was, that's why he was ultimately a Piston, and so that would line up. But at the same
Yep.
time, to your point, like Isaiah Stewart from day one was a very calculated pick. Like you go back and read on like Troy Weaver's scouting of Isaiah Stewart. He had a deep relationship with the head coach of Washington, and the conversations that they would have is, man, this kid can do way more than he showed here, and he was able to show here. And ever since stepping into the league, I think he's shown exactly that. If you were to tell me that this guy was shooting threes at all, at this point in his career, I don't know if I would have believed you. The fact that he was doing it to the effect that he was doing it last year, I mean, guys, there's no telling what this player ultimately can be, but what we do know is what he is already is extremely valuable.
Yep. Listen, at NBA University, at NBA_University, they put out the metric, the top 22 players, the top players, 22 years and younger. And they were measuring their all-in-one impact metric. And Isaiah Stewart was number 20. And he was ahead of players like Josh Green, Jalen Green, and other top kind of popular young players out there in the NBA. And it's just, it's an important thing because we sit on here and we talk about the fact that these guys have it, that Isaiah Stewart makes this impact. And sometimes we don't see it because he doesn't have one stat that pops all the way off the stat sheet where we can say, oh, he's elite right there. But maybe he's one of those kind of jack of all, master of none type of guys where he's having the opportunity now to figure out what is his master trade. If he can go out there and kind of be one of those guys when you put more defense and more talent around him, and you can just say as a specialist, go out there and do this and do that. Well, that's kind of what Golden State's able to do with Draymond. I promise you, if they didn't have as much talent kind of in that starting lineup, then things get a little bit more bleak. And when they've had smaller lineups and less defensive-minded teammates around Draymond, those teams have gotten beaten. When they've had bigger, bigs on the squad and more defensive-minded people around them, those teams have looked stout. And what do we say about Draymond? Oh, my goodness, he can play small ball 5, and he can play the wing, and he can this, and he can that.
Yep.
When you look at Isaiah Stewart last year, when he played with the Duran lineups, when they could play two bigs, because I saw someone say maybe they weren't using him right, they couldn't. They had to play him in lineups where he was the most ferocious, playing with the most ferocity out of any of our bigs. So it's like, yeah, he might be undersized. We shouldn't play him against this 5, but all of the other guys who are tall enough to play against these 5s, they got, like my coach used to say, kind of maybe milk pumping through their veins right now. The aggressiveness is not there. So then you got to put Stu, who he's going to play aggressive. He's going to play aggressive, but the offensive player might be able to, because of a height advantage, score over him. So you're playing in this kind of middle place. When you start to actually put more NBA talent on the court around Stu, then it allows Stu to kind of play better to his strengths. And he has some really huge strengths. He just does. So
And Carl, Jalen, like we talk about, I know I've been a Dwayne Casey defender, but we all could agree, even as much as we love Dwayne Casey, we all could agree there were some creativity things, schematic things, like as far as like maybe some more modern type of things that weren't necessarily in his schemes. I think giving Isaiah Stewart to a guy like Monty Williams and his coaching staff and the types of adjustments and things that they can do with him on the court, I'm excited to see, because you talk about like the players that can fuel creativity for a coach. Isaiah Stewart is one of those guys, because you can give him complicated assignments and you can give him the things that no one else on the team wants to do, because that's his specialty.
Right.
I think on Twitter I made a tweet about a month and a half ago, and I use untouchable very very closely, But I mentioned, I think it was Cade, Ivy, Doran, and I said the fourth untouchable is Isaiah Stewart. And people were kind of confused, why I said that. He's the enforcer. He can guard 1 through 5. He can do everything. If you look at his numbers, he's improved his numbers every single season since he got into the league. He's scrappy. He can shoot a little bit now. I would want to see his jump shot, improve, a few percentages up, this year, but I'm not worried about that. Like you said, Dwayne had him in some schemes that we may get to see with Monty. They may, blossom a little better, but he was always going to be here. I think, Isaiah, we need a guy like him on the team. He can do everything. Now, he in his field, right? He can do, he can rebound, he can shoot, he can defend. We need a guy. We need him. And people were, hard on him saying he should have got the contract and whatnot. I think he deserved it. He outlasted, the rest of his class almost, on our team. And I think, he's going to have a better season. I'm hoping 15-9, maybe 14-9. But I just want him to know his role, and I think he's going to find that with Monty Williams. He's going to get a little bit more leeway to do some things on this team. So I'm 110% behind him being here because I like him. That's my guy.
Yeah, he's the heart of the team. He's the heart of the team, and people think of the bad boys and following the blueprint. I mean, he's an integral part of that, I think. But I think, not just him. Obviously, everyone's going to benefit from Monty's system, especially the 0.5 seconds thing. I think that's going to have a huge effect, and I'm excited to see just the different schemes that Monty, has in place offensively and defensively. I think we were all kind of, I'm a Dwayne Casey defender too, but I think it was a little stale at the end of the season. I think we all got kind of tired of seeing the same thing. And so, even though it's going to take a little while to install the offense and defense, I think it's still going to be exciting to watch. So, I think he'll be fine. I think it's going to get better this year too. So,
yeah,
it's easy, baby.
Easy.
What's up, Easy? Shout out Easy. Shout out Uber Heavyweights. Hope you guys are doing great. But Doug, thank you for the support, man. He says, welcome back, Kool-Aid. You guys have the right take, as always, man. Hey, it was a blast out there, man. It was a blast. It was tiring, but it was awesome to kind of be in an environment and be able to interact with fans, see the players kind of live and in person down at Summer League for the first couple games. It was dope. It was dope, man. I appreciate you, Doug. I that's why I'm running on fumes right now, man. I'm like, but
yeah, 100%, man.
This panel always energizes.
I think we pretty much we covered just about everything we were looking to cover, unless from Summer League, was there any other guys that have caught your eye? I know Cam Whitmore is making a lot of general managers look really stupid right now with all the stuff he's doing. I'm still curious to see what his role is going to be in Houston, because they have a lot of people who are going to need the ball there, man.
Yeah,
I know he's a great talent to get, but you add in Fred VanVleet, Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is going to take more shots than you want him to take. Let's just be honest.
You know what they were doing? They're just gathering guys and seeing what sticks. That's like, but I say that in the worst way. Like, I don't think that's a good thing at all.
They're doing like the full form internal competition thing, which I think can have some real fundamental, like it can really affect having that team culture at a very early stage. Again, I'm not saying it will definitively, but like those are things that can come up in those types of situations. They also can just find some freaking hoopers in that situation and find out who's really, because don't get me wrong, they have a ton of talent. The little we saw of Amen Thompson, Ausar, just watching Ausar as much as we have makes me excited to watch Amen. And I know we have a little thing with Houston, whatever, like that rivalry ever since Jalen Green and Cade, the 1 and 2. But I just think of the world, the Thompson twins. I just want those guys to succeed, whatever teams they're on. And I'm just blessed that we get to be a part of that journey as a fan base, because it's gonna like those are guys who are categorically like those two guys will be in the All-NBA team lists for the years to come.
I like him, man.
I
And,
agree.
just from the people we know, we know that's a great family, great pedigree. That family has put a lot into those boys, and ultimately it's about what they choose to do with it, and they've chosen to be serious. They've chosen to try and use their platforms to be the best basketball players they can be, but also the best people they can be, and that to me is that's commendable. That's commendable. Now it's on them to continue that forward, continue to be an example. I think in that locker room, when you talk about serious basketball players, I think Amen Thompson has an opportunity on a young team like that to realistically, in that Houston locker room, try to have a serious voice in that locker room, man. So it's gonna be dope.
Hey, shout out
And
Jarace
Apollo,
Walker too.
don't, man, no. I hope they don't have that in the back. Don't
you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us.
He said Jalen Green gonna have some backroom fun with his new teammate,
Oh
Fred VanVleet.
no.
No.
Oh,
No,
no.
no.
It's gonna welcome him to the team.
If you don't know, don't know. Please do. This is one of
Jeez.
those ones. Don't Google it. Don't go and find out.
This is one of those for what?
Yeah,
Man.
exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, side note, did you guys see Jarace Walker though? He had like 8, 13, and like 5 blocks. Like that, he was hooping, man.
I felt Steve's collective "I told you so" all the way from from Michigan. Like I could just like that. Like I could just only imagine. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. Ausar's absolutely been awesome too on the defensive end, so I think that makes you feel more than comfortable. But man, if we missed on Jarace Walker, if it wasn't for Ausar, that it would just be really hard to feel good about passing on Jarace Walker because he can hoop too.
He was meeting dudes up top too. Like I seen the highlight on SportsCenter. Like he was just going
blocking.
He was
dunks.
was going head up blocking dunks. I was like,
easy.
Oh.
He looks like a pass rusher. He looks like Micah Parsons is in the NBA.
Like he was like, bring it on. And he was just sending them deep. That they weren't like, tip blocks. They were like full-fledged, like palm to palm. Like, I'm telling you, this is crazy.
That was the guy who, if the Pistons didn't go to Thompson twin, it was always Jarace. Once Steve and I got into this draft coverage in January, the top 2 guys for me was Jarace Walker, Ausar Thompson. One was for potential. The other was for who could come in right away and help you. And honestly, Ausar Thompson, I see exactly the potential thing. Like the things that he's doing on the court, I see it. Jarace Walker is a beast right now. And I think he's going to be very, very tough to this season. But man, I am very happy with Ausar Thompson for sure.
Look at that block, y'all.
Goodness.
I mean,
get out of here, bro.
Forget about it. I mean, you talk about. I love what they're building in Indiana right now, but on the flip side, I am dreading having to play the Pacers for years to come. Like bloody hell, I'm dreading it because they just have like it's like every player that like I also would have liked in a Pistons uniform is a Pacer. Like they even went and kicked us in the nuts and got Bruce Brown this offseason.
Underrated roster, man, right now, in my opinion, especially defensively. They're gonna wreak havoc defensively, man.
They're gonna be so
that's
annoying.
An underrated roster. No one's really talking about them, and I think that's kind of basketball criminal. Like it's
I think the 2 teams, like my 2 breakout candidates this season, the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I feel like OKC kind of, I would go with that. I feel like I expect that out of them. Indiana is the one where I'm just like, whoa, Indiana. I think up on me.
Well, I think Indiana is going to be the surprising one that's going to catch people off guard. But I think Oklahoma City, I think we're going to go from seeing them as like a competitive playing team as to after this season, we're going to see them as one of the contenders in the Western Conference.
I hope so bad.
I agree with you on that one.
I hope so bad.
I am about to be so annoying about Chet. Like,
I mean, I'll be there with you though, man. Because I told my guys, and I'm gonna say it. I told Tony and Eli, those guys. It was 2 years ago. We got out with some dinner, and Chet was playing on TV, and they're like, he's not gonna make it. I'm like, Chet's going to be a monster, bro. I don't care if he can stay skinny. He's going to be a monster. In Summer League, Chet is insane.
If you look past the body stuff and just focus on the game and how his wingspan makes him this freakish, just blocking machine. This guy's averaging 5 blocks in Summer League. Like Pepega Jones point out this is a guy, he's not just swatting it like this. He can also just go up with 2 hands and block it like he's going over like the volleyball net. Like he's stuffing a spike.
We got to get us one of those guys, man. We missed on Wemby. We don't have Bol Bol. We don't have Chet.
Okay, no one has Bol Bol. I'm sorry. I am sick of hearing Bol Bol. He just got waived. He's on the Phoenix Suns. He's gonna freaking ride the bench. He is ass. He's not even Marvin Bagley. I'm sorry.
I was about to make a joke too, but like, well, we got James Wiseman. Carl.
Look, that's nothing against James Wiseman.
Hey, Wiseman looked good in Summer League, but Duren looked better. Duren looked awesome.
Yeah,
I think what Wiseman displayed, I know a lot of people were talking about what he should and shouldn't be doing, tunnel vision, blah, 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 and even Jay Knife. I'm like, look, you want those guys to go out there and just dominate and put in the work. Who these guys are going to be when they play next to Cade Cunningham is going to be something completely different. When these players, you want them at their peak to be able to operate in the ISO, because when you go pick and roll with Cade Cunningham and you catch the ball against whoever the trailing defender is, you want to know that player, especially like a Wiseman, can go to work. He might not, sometimes be the pick and lob threat that like Duren might be. He can be that. But sometimes I notice with Wiseman, he might be the guy when he's playing with Cade, when that pick and roll comes and he drops a pass down, he might have to make one little move, spin, and go. That might be the type of guy he is. And that's kind of the type of stuff I saw him kind of doing, being very deliberate and direct with his touches on offense. And I think that that's honestly going to help the Pistons with a guy like Wiseman. I don't think he's a guy that needs to be focused on too much other than like being direct with the basketball. When the ball hits his hands, a lot of times, it either needs to be as a hub to hit the cutter that's going to score, or either he needs to be scoring. If the ball's in his hands before that, I don't know why it should be, realistically. Like from just a basketball standpoint, I just don't know why it should be. So I was okay with Wiseman. I thought he did his job. He looked good to me. And in transition is where I'm actually really, really excited to see what Wiseman can be, both handling the ball, throwing full court passes and things of that nature when you got guys like Ivy, Ausar, even Duren. So I was cool with him, man. I definitely was.
I'm typing something up in the chat that I want you to put up in the screen because I just want to put some emphasis on this point.
You look like a madman right now, Sean.
Well, because I have all these people going, no, you're wrong. Bol Bol's better than Marvin Bagley. And it's like, I'm sorry. It's just not true. Hold on. I'm almost done. You guys keep talking, and then I'll be ready in just a second.
Oh, man. What else from Summer League, man? Was there anything that interested you that we didn't talk about, Jenna?
I like that one guy from is he from France? Is that the guy we signed?
Oh, hold on. Make sure we give Carl that goodbye. He has to dip out right now. Carl, it's like I don't understand where he finds the time to give us his time, but I am grateful for it, man. So, Carl, blessed to you, your family, your endeavors, and honestly continuing to break all types of barriers. So, man, do your thing. Appreciate him on here as always.
All right. Put the comment in the chat. I want you to show it. I want you to show it.
I got you. And what were you saying, Jalen?
No, the guy from France, is that his name? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. Kool-Aid. Is it Malcolm?
Malcolm Casalone, I believe.
He was doing pretty decent. When he played, he was doing all right. I don't know if he made like a two-way or I don't know, but he was doing pretty decent though, from what I saw.
I liked him offensively. Defensively,
a lot of questions there. I like
it. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
I do.
All right. What if I told you player A and player B averaged about the same amount of minutes last year, and these were their stats? If you were to just remove all the social media clips, all of the hype, all of the name power behind it, which player would you say is better? Which one? Oh, wait.
Come on, comments. Which player are you taking?
Oh, but every single
in the
clip you have of
comments,
Bol
guys.
Bol that's
Put in the
good is either
comments.
from the Orlando Magic preseason or the NBA bubble when it didn't matter. So whatever.
You already know, man. Shout out to Professor Jones. He says player C. He's not gonna pick either one, dog. But obviously, everyone's saying player B.
You're right,
saying-
Apollo. Let's talk context. When's the last time Bol Bol played meaningful minutes? Going into the season, the Orlando Magic like, we're going to build around him. Literally 2 weeks ago, they waived him. They didn't even get anything for him. If the Pistons move on from Marvin Bagley, they'll actually get compensation in return. Like we can have whatever jokes we want about a player. Bol Bol is the most overrated player on NBA Twitter, and it's not even close.
It's because of the social
Not
media
even close.
age of it all. His peaks can look better than Marvin Bagley's, but consistently, he's just not that guy. When you're talking about depending on him for the amount of minutes that you can get out of Marvin Bagley, he just starts to lose efficiency and effectiveness. He's not doing all the same stuff, and that's the issue with Bol Bol. If Bol
He's
Bol
7'2"
did
and he
this
averages
all the
one block a
time,
game.
he would be in
We're
the
acting
league
like he
right
can
now,
block a shot. Get out of here.
like more
Miss
consistent.
me with that.
And that's what I'm saying. If Bol Bol, the things that we like about Bol Bol, if he did those things regularly, then we wouldn't have an opportunity to sign him. The problem is that he goes out there and puts a few things on tape that were like, whoa, he took it full court. But then you go and you play against him in a game like the Pistons did. And what do y'all remember Bol Bol from the games we played against the Magic last year? I remember Stewart hitting the game winning 3 because somebody left him open. I wonder who was guarding him. I don't remember. I don't know. I remember I don't know, man. I don't remember him.
You're right,
I just
Apollo.
don't remember him.
Bol Bol and Marvin Bagley are different players. One's in an NBA rotation, and one's Bol Bol. If we're talking strictly in a bubble, yes, he looked good. You know who else ruled that bubble? TJ Warren. They were calling him Thagic Johnson. He literally played his first games since the bubble.
He said Bol Bol's problems are Killian Hayes. I'm not trying to deal with that again.
Listen, man.
Or like an end of rotation guy, man. Like I can't. Like you guys understand. If Bol Bol was that guy, he would be that guy.
Bol Bol right now is quite literally fantasy. Like there is as much truth to Bol Bol being a good NBA player as much as there is to Harry Potter. Like I'm sorry, it's make believe at this point. But anyway, you know what's not make believe? We're Pistons Table Talk, which comes to you each and every week, Thursdays, with the crew. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
The bubble destroyed some people, bro. They became legends, and it was like that was it for your bubble success. You are no longer. It's just like goodness. Bye, TJ.
And Duncan Robinson was Klay Thompson on crack in the bubble.
That's what I'm saying. There are players who have just like the bubble took it all. It's like they gave it all for the bubble, bro.
Oh my gosh, man. The freaking bubble bowl. My gosh. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that mother notification bell so you don't miss any of the content we got going on here. I believe we'll have an episode next week, although I'll be on vacation, so I don't know if I'll be on here or not. But be sure you follow the crew, my boy Brandon at Detroit Kool-Aid, my guy Jalen at Jalen HTV. Check out Steve at Resball Pod. Shout out to him as well. And also be sure you're following our guy Carl at Carl Collins Productions. All the awesome work that guy's doing. Shout out to him. But with that, folks, that's going to do it for this week. Kool-Aid, anything to say before we close this episode?
Man, hey, look, I actually like doing this, man. I know I'm about to go now and probably sleep for like 48 hours, try and get off this jet lag. But as always, I love doing this content and getting on the table talking, rapping with you all, as well as with the comments, man. This is it's always fun getting in with the chat. Hopefully, as we kind of move into this next season, a lot of the ideas I know that we had planned, I'm hoping those things can really, really get off the ground so we can have some real cool interaction with the chat. So it's in the works. We definitely gonna get it together, man. But I appreciate you guys, man.
Appreciate you all for real. Thank you, everybody. I'm out of here. We out of here. We'll see you guys next time on Woodward Pistons Table Talk.
Peace out.
And we